Well, happy Midweek Wednesday. I greet you from the sanctuary of our beloved Bethel Church. You can see and hear that there is work going on. They're already here working on our duct work underneath the sanctuary. And though Greg has sort of coined the phrase that our organ is on a ventilator, it is expected to fully recover in the next several weeks. So let me tell you where we are now. People are on site doing the underneath work that is required. Our shipping of the unit will arrive at the end of August, and then the placing in and getting set up and checking and tweaking, all of that will happen early September, and then the organ will need to sit and get acclimated to the new temperature, and then it will be ready for the organ doctors to come, do any repairs that they need to for the time that it has been in this environment, and then we will be ready to go. So, wanted you to see, and not just hear, where we were. Some of you hopefully saw my conversation with our trustees chair, Ed Roper last week, as he detailed the work of the trustees, which we are grateful for sure. But I want to share with you today a reminder. It's helpful to me, maybe it'll be helpful to you. The church, the Christian church, in the first 300 years after Christ, did not have a building. The church didn't have a building, but they were the church without a building. They met in people's homes, they met in catacombs, they met underground. Certainly Constantine legalized, made Christianity the religion of the state, and then that sort of building of structures began. But those who study the history say that the 20th century, the one that we have just come out of, the 20th century, the church was the most persecuted of any other century since Christ. You have to look at apartheid or China and communism. You have to look at Japan or any number of Russia. You have to look at all of those countries, not just ours. We sort of lived propped up by the culture in the 20th century. But the reality is that the church in the world has known this sort of being church even without a building. So we are just part of a long history of Christian people who have had the luxury and the good fortune to have had a holy space, a sanctuary, where many of our holiest moments have happened. But we don't have to have the sanctuary to be faithful Christians. We have the luxury and benefit of the sanctuary, and we long to be back here, and we will. But let's not miss the solidarity that we might find in these days with countless other Christians before us who have used this time, a time apart from gathering as a large community, to do the internal work of spiritual formation, apprenticing Jesus, practicing the ways of Jesus, and then gathering in smaller groups in homes, on back porches, in places that feel safe, while we are not able to gather as a larger community. Given that, let me tell you where we are as a staff team. We have 4 goals. We want to keep the mission of our church before us. We exist to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. We have not abandoned the mission. That's our mission. We want to keep close the mission of the church. We want to support people spiritually and emotionally and physically, now and into the future. At the same time, we want to create an environment where we are aware of the facts of science and medicine, and we do our best to return making this place as safe as possible for as many as possible. And we also want to be the church that is aware of the common good, not just of our people, but of our neighbors, of the Charleston community, the places where we live and play and serve. We want to keep the mission of the church before us. We want to support people spiritually, emotionally, physically. We want to make the return to this place as healthy and risk-free as possible. And we always want to keep in mind the common good. So we are doing our work, trustees, worship committee. There's been a new medical advisory sort of ad hoc committee that I've asked to help keep me and our teams abreast of current medical knowledge and awareness. And together, over the course of the next weeks, we will make our slow, steady progress towards returning. But until that day, the church has left the building. We are growing in faith. We are being faithful in our call to feed and care for the least of these in our city. And let's care for one another. Find ways to be in small groups via Zoom, via back porches, via parks. Let's do early church stuff and gather in small ways as faithful remnants until we can come back together again. May God bless you and bless our church and bless the church worldwide as we live through this unique moment in time faithfully. See you Sunday.